The 23rd day of December 2022. My name is MC Kalia. This is the Morning Glory Show. And if you're already tuned in, let me know where you tuned in from. Of course, being Friday, many would have expected us to be talking about sports or culture. But then we decided to bring you a special edition just before Christmas. And so with me today is a man who I would say was on the table. And it seems respect was no longer being served in that table. And he decided to go and build his own table. Then later came back to the table. That is Timothy Kipchumba, the member of National Assembly, Marakwet West. So we are going to discuss today the first 100 days of Kenya Kwanza Government, and of course he'll also be able to tell us about what he has in store for the people of Marakwet West, and of course, being a legislator, then he's a legislator of the whole country. So that means he'll tell us what actually he has in mind for the country, that is Kenya. But then before we go there, then allow me to also remind you that we are coming live from Dawi Africa Photography. Dawi Africa Photography is situated in Eldoret, along the Nairobi-Uganda Road, so just opposite Barngetuny. I believe Barngetuny is an old landmark, and Zanmol is a newer, if I would say. So they are both landmarks, so if you are around Barngetuny area, then you can actually easily make your way to Dawi Africa Photography. Mwesh can confirm this is a very family-friendly studio, so make sure that you're part of us. Come in, take those nice photos, come take those photos, and it's Christmas time, have some time with your family. But then before we go far, allow me to also give a chance to Muhesh to, of course, introduce himself and give us a little background about himself.
Thank you so much, MC Kalia. I'm excited to be here in this show this morning. I am happy for what you're doing for this great country. I have had the privilege to watch your shows every morning. And I can tell you confidently that this morning Glory show is going places. Looking forward to you having in future a TV station or a radio station so that you can be able to amplify what you are teaching many people of Kenya in the near future. So I'm excited to be here, and I congratulate the team, the Dawi Africa team, and the entire team for what they are doing for this great nation. So for those who have not met me, my name is Timothy Kipchumba, I teach. I'm the Member of Parliament, Marakwet West. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the great people of Marakwet West for overwhelmingly electing me as the Member of Parliament, Marakwet West. So as the people of Marakwet West, I sincerely thank you. I promise that I shall not yet let you down as your Member of Parliament. So maybe my background story. So that
but then before you even go to the background, of course, Muhesh, I know it wasn't easy to be where you are. Thanking the people of Marakwet West. And how was the journey for you? You are in the UDA primaries. Then how was it? Maybe before you even go to the background, I'm sure so many people are anxious to know what actually informed your choice of even going as an independent candidate.
Now, I started politics quite early. I think I played my cards under the table for quite some time because I worked with the county government. I think I'll tell you that later in great detail. So I used to attend churches as early as 2017 after the elections. I attend churches, I attend functions at home. I would mingle with the ordinary folks in the village, talk to them. So when the chance came, and I decided to declare that I would be vying for MP Marakwet West. That was the year 2020. Then I, of course, at that time, UDA was formed. Around 2021, the party UDA was formed. Then I decided to use the party as my vehicle of choice to contest for the position of MP Marakwet West. So we had the April nominations under the UDA ticket, but the results that came out of the said nominations, many people felt that there was massive electoral malpractices in the UDA nominations.
What people are calling shambolic.
Well, yeah, what they call shambolic. They called it actually to shambolic at that point in time, and of course, there was a lot of mismanagement of the UDA nominations at that time. Then there is something in Latin called Vox Populis, Vox Dei, that the voice of the people is the voice of God. So the people of Marakwet West approached me and told me, Tim, you know, what we want is leadership. And we know you are a capable leader. So they told me it is the will of the people that should prevail. Then they prevailed upon me to contest the August elections via the independent ticket. And I took the bull by its horns and I contested via the independent ticket. I think it was a well-run campaign because it was a campaign of the people, for the people, and by the people. Yes. So, and then of course, as fate had it, I was elected on the 8th of August as the 5th Member of Parliament, Marakwet West, in equal measure as the deputy, as the president, William Samoei Ruto was elected as the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. Yes.
Okay, and I think that is when now most of us who are not actually, not come from Elgeyo Marakwet,
Yes.
discover that there was a guy here.
Yeah.
And I remember your maiden speech in Parliament talking
Yes.
about where you've come from and all that.
Yeah.
And that's where we got the interest to say, this guy needs to come on the
Yeah.
Morning Glory
Correct.
show.
Exactly.
So take us through your journey. Maybe how was it growing up?
I was born in a small village called Kabarmagai village. That is in the mid-80s. I went to a public school called Kamasat Primary School, which is within the border of Moiben Kuserwo and Leland Ward, but the school is located in Leland Ward. When I was in primary school, I think that is where my leadership skills were honed because I was chosen, actually elected as the class prefect. I remember nostalgically when I was in class 4, all the way, I was elected as the class prefect. Then in the year 2001, I did my class 8 at that time. I was a leading student in the class. Thereafter, I joined a school of choice, that is my forces Nairobi. You know, bro, coming from the village
And going to Moi Forces.
to going to Moi Forces, you know, there was some culture shock because, you know, I in my own small world, I never imagined that there were so many tribes in Kenya, so many different languages, that people were different, were unique in so many ways. So I think that is where I interacted with the world when I joined that institution. Can you imagine when I was in Form 2, despite having come from a small village called Gabarmagai, I was appointed through, of course, universal suffrage as the class prefect in Moi Forces, Nairobi. So from Form 2 to Form 4, I was the class prefect. I also served in different capacities at that time. I was in the debate club. I was the Secretary General of the History Club. And that is where I honed my leadership skills. That is where my skill of leadership was demonstrated because I was able to join others from other schools. We had debates. We had engagements. You know, those schools, there's a way that they structure the leadership in their students at a very early stage. So that is where, of course, I held my leadership skills. Thereafter, I did my Form 4 in the year 2005. Then I passed very well. Thereafter, I was admitted to Moi University School of Law, Annex Campus here. So I was in campus from 2006 to 2010, Moi University here, where I did what you call LLB. That is a Bachelor of Laws. Then I cleared in 2010. Thereafter, joined Kenya School of Law in Nairobi, Karen, where I did my postgraduate diploma in law. Of course, I cleared in 2013. 2012 there, 2013 did my pupillage, and I was admitted to the bar in the year 2013. You see, Kali, when you say, when you admit at the bar, not the bars, many know it, but it's a special calling. You know, it is an honor to be admitted to the bar. As you see, when you finish 4 years in university, you become a lawyer. Not until you finish the postgraduate diploma in law, that is, of course, you do the practical aspect of law at the Kenya School of Law, and then you are supposed to be under an advocate for almost 1 year. Then at that time, you become an advocate. So the difference is a lawyer is someone who has cleared 4 years in law school. You become an advocate when now you are admitted by the Chief Justice. When you take the oath of an advocate, to become an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. So thereafter, of course, I was lucky enough. I applied there was a vacancy in the County Assembly of Elgeyo Marakwet, vacancy of a legal counsel. So I have that. I was lucky not to tarmac. So I applied for that position as a legal counsel, and through, of course, rigorous interviews, I was appointed to serve as the first legal counsel for the County Assembly of Elgeyo Marakwet. And that is a position that I pride in, because I was the first lawyer in that county to draft legislations. So I worked for the County Assembly for quite some period of time, up to 2022. But at that time also, because as a lawyer or as an advocate, there is something called non-practicing allowance that you are supposed to be paid. So I elected not to be paid non-practicing allowance so that I can practice law. So together with my colleague called Alfred Songok, we opened a law firm, and I practiced law from 2014 to 22. I currently still practicing law, so that I would hone my practice skills in court. So, of course, thereafter, I elected to join elective politics, and here I am. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, we'll be coming so much into that, and maybe what you see yourself doing in the future, maybe your dreams also in the future. But then, as a yet, allow me to also get some comments and some feedback already. I can see somebody called Yatich Shadrack saying, Salamia Mheshimiwa Wakili Timothy, I wish him well. Thank you so much. Sheila Kiboi, we in Marakwet, what we did was, what we didn't make a mistake. We chose the best. We are proud of Mheshimiwa. Thank you so much. Nathan Dave saying, I still support you, sir. I believe in your leadership. I know you are clean heart in serving our people. Let's be patient with as he delivers on his promises. Thank you so much. I'll keep on reading your comments as they come in. If you're already tuned in, let me know where you tuned in. Of course, let's interact. Let's make this a fun session. Of course, it's not one of those grilling interviews of you did this, you didn't do that. And of course, I still believe also still too early to actually grill anyone. I think we are only at around 3 months after the election. So, but then I'll be bringing Mweshi whenever anything happens for him to also tell us some of these things and how they're going. Of course, I know 5 years will not be easy, but then we expect, So just to sample more comments, I have somebody called Isaiah Cheboy saying, brilliant lawyer, stay focused. Thank you so much. I'll also be reading. I can see longer comments coming in. Make sure you text in. I'll take some time and read those particular comments. But then, Mwesh, you've talked about yourself coming from, I would say, at that time, marginalized. Maybe things are better right now at the Valley. How was it growing up, especially now saying that I would want to be a lawyer? What even inspired you to do that?
You know, life in the village, my brother, is it is exciting. And I want to inspire young people that any dream is valid. Kipchoge normally says, Eliud Kipchoge normally says that no human is limited. And it is absolutely true that no human being is limited. Since a young age, I was a very focused man. I knew what I wanted in life. It may surprise you that when I was young, I used to take. If you go to my village, they will tell you that I traditionally and religiously worked. Whenever I was maybe taking care of herding cows, I had a radio with me. And I used to listen to parliamentary proceedings. I used to listen to news, KBC News at that time. And when I heard the people of like Orengo, Senior Council, and other lawyers speak, I would be extremely excited. And I said, one day I want to be heard in radio. I want to be seen in TV, just like these people. And those people inspired my dreams. And when I was in high school, I even told my classmates at that time. I remember when we were praying, I told my friends that one, pray for me. I want to be a lawyer in the near future. And of course, that dream came true. So I want to speak to young people that whatever you dream, whatever you want to achieve, focus on your dream and you will realize your dream. Because it's something that I've worked over it over time. And of course, I had, even now, even as I sit here, I have seen my life in the next 50 years. Because the focus must be high. You must know what you want in future, what your dream is, what your achievements are, what your achievements should be, where you want your children to be, and so many other things. So, bro, it's focus on what you want to achieve in life.
Focus on what you want to achieve in life. Of course, that is a very beautiful story there, a very inspiring one by Mheshimiwa here. For those who are joining us right now, we decided to bring you a special Friday edition as we also close for our Christmas break. This comes in with a lot of inspiration, and also we'll be able to talk about politics a little bit. Of course, Kenya Kwanza I think they are now at around 103 days since they were sworn in. Of course, there are those good things and there are those things that people maybe feel that could have been done better. So we will go right into that. But then before we go there, Mheshimiwa, now that you have been elected, and I would say in exceptional circumstances. These were not normal circumstances. Coming from Rift Valley and being elected as an independent candidate, and for that matter, in Elgeyo Marakwet, it's not a simple thing. It's not a normal occurrence, Mwesh. And I'm sure so many eyes will be on you for the next 5 years. Many people would want to know, what is it that this man can deliver? What is that dream that you have for the people of Elgeyo Marakwet? And of course, also as a legislator, what is your dream?
Kalia, the MPs or members of parliament have three distinctive roles. One is oversight, two is representation, and of course we have oversight, representation, and legislation. You have seen me demonstrate my leadership skills at the floor of the House. And as a lawyer and as a legislator, one is I am an expert in terms of legislation. When I was in the county government, Elgeyo Marakwet, I managed to draft over 30 pieces of legislation. And one of the outstanding legislation that I did at that time was what you call the Equitable Development Act, the EDA. That is a law that has allowed the county government to allocate resources to the wards and using equal and equitable formula. And currently, if you look at the MCS of Elgeyo Marakwet County, the way or the county government, the way they share resources in the county government, the people are absolutely comfortable, and they are happy with the revenue sharing formula that we have in our county. But I was telling the governor, there's a way we can look at it. We can amend the law so that we at least get some money for flagship projects. But those are the areas that I did when I was in the county government, and that is the same thing that I want to do at the national level. We've had a problem with the banditry along Kerio Valley. And that is a problem that has affected so many people along the Kerio Valley belt. And yesterday I had the president speaking. and saying that we must look for a collective solution so that you can be able to assist our people along Kerio Valley, especially on the issue of banditry. But again, you must ask yourself, what happened in Kerio Valley so that we have so many challenges? The problem along Kerio Valley is that my friend Kalia, the people of Tiati, and we must tell our people the truth, are a problem along Kerio Valley. Because of those people have had challenges in terms of civilization. That area is in the dark. I was there some time back. You find that there are no roads, no schools, no hospitals, no churches. So it's an area that needs to be modernized so that they can be able to live peacefully with people and, of course, be able to access basic amenities. So what I've done in Parliament is I have introduced a motion which shall be tabled very soon in Parliament. We form a task force or an ad hoc committee in Parliament to investigate the issues of insecurity along the Kerio Valley, because so many people have died along Kerio Valley. There is massive stock theft. There has been a massacre, Murkuto massacre, and many other massacres along Kerio Valley, especially in Marakwet West and Marakwet East. So I have brought a motion in Parliament to form a special task force so that those people along Kerio Valley can be compensated. And that is an area that I have put a lot of focus on. Deal with the issue of insecurity. Of pasture. Number 3, we need the issue of compensation. The people of Marakwet West, Marakwet East, even the people of Tiati need to receive some measure of compensation because of the insecurity that has been occasioned by the government with protecting life and property. But they didn't do so. So that is an area that I'm focused on so that we can be able to help our people along Kerio Valley. And yes, the other day there was an exciting motion that was at the floor of the House that, of course, I helped move with a member of Kibwezi. The issue of village elders. I don't know whether you saw that.
Yeah, I think I saw the.
Yeah.
It was quite a heated.
Yeah, heated debate. You see, there is a group of people here called the village elders. In my area, we call them Kasa. Where's the Honorable Mutuse? We brought a motion before the House. We moved that motion, and the motion was adopted that the law be amended to provide for the remuneration, the payment of salary or allowance or anything else to the village elders, so that they can be able to execute their duties just like other government employees, like chiefs, like assistant chiefs, because I see Mukasa has nothing to offer. Unless they go to that village meeting and then they get something small. But there is nothing to sustain them and to inspire them and to encourage them to work for the government. So those are the issues that we want to bring to the floor of the House, and so many other things that can be able to help our people. But the most important thing is oversight, to make sure that our teachers are assisted, and so many other areas.
And of course, when you talk about oversight and all that, when you look at EMC, let's even talk about Elgeyo Marakwet, though this happens in so many other counties. And of course, I know there is a motion right now at the Senate about Mwangaza, barely 3 months after elections, and there is already that. Of course, it may not come to the National Assembly, but then of course there is that issue of MC. For us to make some progress, then even the people you are oversighting must be willing also to work at the end of it all. The MCAs oversight the county, but then at the end of it all, you are elected as a member of National Assembly to serve the same people in Marakwet West. The governor also has his own vision for the people of Elgeyo Marakwet. The MCA has the same thing. How would you work as a young leader right now to make sure that there is some unity of purpose in Elgeyo Marakwet? Because the issues that EMC is facing at the moment is issues that will actually need all the leaders to come together and try to fix that.
Wonderful. I agree with you absolutely that there must be unity for purpose so that there is leadership, both from the women representative, from the members of parliament in the various constituencies, from the MCAs, from the senator to the governor. I absolutely agree that there must be unity of purpose. And I have talked about this matter on several occasions. One, for example, in our county, and it should happen in all the county, it should be replicated, that the governors initiate something called the County Caucus Consortium Forum, so that all the elected leadership, of course, and the nominated leaders at the county can have a consortium that they be meeting at least 4 times in a year to discuss the status of the county in terms of development and in terms of even the politics, in terms of maybe security matters in the county. So that is what I've actually proposed to my governor, that we form a county leadership consortium forum so that we can be meeting either biannually or quarterly, depending on the schedule of the elected leadership. Because what has happened in Meru is a very unfortunate situation, because that government has not taken off. Since Mwangaza joined government,
she's not done anything.
Yes,
completely.
since he was the governor, conflict of representation and conflict of functions. You see, the county, the law that we have in Kenya, our constitution, actually separated functions. We have the county government functions and the national government functions. And what has been happening, there are small fights. Like the other day, you go to the village, they tell, this road belongs to the county government, this road belongs to the national government. Small petty issues that can be resolved by a sit down by the leadership in various counties. And that I want to encourage our leadership. If they're listening, that form consortium forums. Don't fear your leaders. Don't fear the MCA. That the MCA, you see, when he's exposed, he may become the MP. When he's exposed, may become the governor. Sit down and discuss. The reason why we are in leadership is because we are in leadership for and on behalf of the people who elected us, with the intention that we would serve them without small fracas. But again, of course, even for our leaders, I think, even like the case for Mwangaza, surely, there's some wisdom that should, elementary wisdom, that should inform certain leadership. See, there are some things, you see, the challenge with many governors is that they do not know the power of MCAs. They think an MCA is a councillor. They think an MCA is someone who is not, who doesn't have powers. But an MCA is a very powerful position in this country. And MCAs should be empowered because, the MCA deals directly with the people. They voice their concerns of the people at the local level. So, you see, Mwangaza came in with this power thing, I'm the boss, they said you can tell me, you will only take my directives. My friend, at the county government, there are 2 arms of government. We have the county executive and the county assembly. And they are independent, but can only work on a basis of mutual consultation. But the county assembly is independent of the executive, and the work of an MCA is to oversight the governor and the county executive, just like the work of an MP is to oversight the president and the executive. Yes.
Okay, and of course that is a hot potato. We may not want to go there much, but also talking about issues of legislation. You are a lawyer by profession,
Yes.
or rather, you are an advocate of the High Court. So that means that this is something you really understand so well. And we live in a country where so many people have argued that we have very nice policies, but very little being done to act on it. That the other day I had someone saying that we actually have very good laws, but then now when it comes to implementation, we still have a problem. And I would also want you to tie this to the issue of age. Right now, within the rift, I would say, and even Kenya generally, you'd notice that leadership is moving away from the older generation to the younger generation. And as we get there, then we are still grappling with the issues of information, as much as we are living in an information age. What do you think is the missing fabric, and how can we fix that?
First of all, I want to thank the people of this region. If you see the kind of leadership that we have in this region, at the North Rift, South Rift, even the other part of the country, even in Central, Mount Kenya region, you'd be amazed. These are young, they are vibrant, very focused, determined leaders. If you look at the MP for Mogotio, I think Mogotio is, I think is the youngest male member of parliament in Kenya. Look at Toto in 24 years old. Look at Mengi too is here. Look at Tim here. Look at other areas within leaders within the region. And if you look at the vibrancy at which they represent their constituency, their constituencies, you would be inspired. Yesterday, for example, I covered almost 7 meetings in a day. In the morning, I was in Kenya Power and Rarek here, negotiating on the issue of electricity connectivity in my constituency. Thereafter, I went to Kapsawar, issued checks for Wezo because I'm the patron, went to another engagement, went to another, almost 8 functions. So there is a lot that young leaders can do, even at the National Assembly. I have had the privilege to peruse through laws that have been passed by young leaders, Kina Kiarie, Kina Nani, at the last parliament. And you'd be inspired by the work they are doing in this great country. So I would congratulate our people for electing young leadership. Even our president, ideally, is if you compare the age of the president and the competitors, our president is actually arguably young, because at the age of 56, he's arguably a young person. And you can see the energy at which he executes the mandate of the office of the presidency in this country. But like you've said, of course, there are other challenges. Also, of course, there should be also a mixture of experience. But I believe also experience can be gained with time. Because if you elect a leader, for example, at the age of 25 or at the age of 30, and that leader performs well at the national platform, you would have that leader in this country, that leader would be mentored, and you would grow into leadership for so many years. Ruto was elected as MP for Kenya North. Sorry.
For Eldoret.
North. At the age, I think, of 27, 28, or somewhat. Or it should be 27, 31 there. He was elected as a member of parliament of Eldoret North. If Ruto was not elected as a member of parliament by the great people of Turbo, the current Turbo constituency, William Ruto would not be the president of this country, because there was a measure of he has grown into leadership, and that is why he is able to articulate issues, because he has been in the platform for more than almost 30 years. And so that you can see he's very able to articulate matters concerning this country, because he has been to every corner of this country. He came from a grassroots leadership as an MP, so he understands the issue of constituency and the issues of at the national helm. In fact, let me tell you, my friend, the other regime actually was not impressed with the issue of CDF. they wanted to do away with CDF. That is why they engineered court cases and made sure that CDF, the 2013 CDF law, was declared unconstitutional by our courts. It only took the intervention of William Samoei Ruto, our president, to have the CDF reverted to the constituencies. Because he said, look here, man, I've been the member of parliament of Eldoret North. I was there when CDF was not there, and I was there when CDF was there. And I know what CDF has done for this country. I know how lean the management of CDF is. In fact, he told us some time back that he believes that CDF has done more in this country than even the county government allocation, which is true by all measures. So leadership that is mentored from a young age will deliver this country. Number two, I'm aware that, of course, there are many laws in this country that are lying in parliament. They are lying in those offices of the ministries, and they have not been implemented. I think the problem is goodwill of the government. We didn't have the goodwill of the government, I believe, in the last part of the last regime. That is why many laws were passed in parliament, but they were not implemented. But I absolutely believe that under this kind of regime, the laws that were passed by parliament shall and will be implemented. In fact, Kalia, I serve in the committee on implementation in parliament. So what we'll do in that committee is that we have a schedule of framework of implementing laws, motions, statements that have been brought before the floor of the House, have been adopted, if it is in terms of laws, have been assented to, and they have not been implemented. It will be implemented under this current regime. Yes.
Okay.
That is something I'm absolutely sure about. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Muhesh. Of course, we are in with Mheshimiwa Timothy Kipchumba Torotich, that is a member of National Assembly for Marakwet West. And of course, if you're already on the comment section, I'd promise you that I'll be sampling some of your comments. I can see quite a lot of comments here. There's somebody called... okay, let me just get all of them. There's somebody called there's somebody called Kiplagat Kiptok, quite a long one, and sema hujambo mheshimiwa. I have got one issue with electricity. The transformer was Kolelach. The transformer was stationed at the school compound and made impossible for residents from the surround to have power to connect them. Second issue is Kipigo sub-location need to be divided, create room for sub-location, and thus creation of another location. Otherwise, ongera kwa kazi. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure Mheshimiwa may be familiar with that and will be able to address it. Congratulations, Mheshimiwa Wakili Timothy Torotich Kipchumba, my best MP. Unapendwa sana kiongozi. Thank you so much for that. Barmasai Kipngatich Abraham saying, for the first time in the history of Marakwet West, we feel represented. Thank you so much for that. There is also somebody else saying, Kibet Clement saying, mtetesi wa wanyonge, thank you so much. Timothy Wanyonyi saying, kazi nzuri Muhesh, remember electricity connectivity at Boron area. It seems electricity is an issue here. There is also Isaiah Cheboy saying, I stand with you with the compensation of the victims of cattle rustling. All regimes have ignored the fight of Kerio Valley residents for the last 30 years. Isaiah saying, I'm from Marakwet East, but I admire the leadership of Wakili. Queen, she says, good morning to you. Yano Jr. saying, good morning, the morning glory. We have a serial challenge of drug abuse in our country. What is the plan of leadership in this? We are losing the younger generation to bang, changa, and illicit drugs. Of course, I'll give a chance to Muhesh to address those questions before we continue with the questioning. Keep those questions coming in, keep those feedback coming in, and I'll give a chance to Mheshimiwa to just reply to those ones, then we shall continue with the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the demonstrated confidence by the people of Marakwet West, of course, and even Marakwet East and the entire region on my leadership skills. I want to promise them that I will not let them down. Now, we have, of course, I am aware that currently in Marakwet West, the electricity connectivity is at 38%. And I want to promise them that I have worked closely with the Ministry of Energy, with the National Treasury, with Kenya Power, with REREC, and I have been to their offices. If there's a member of parliament who has been to those offices in respect to electricity connectivity in a constituency, it is me. And they know it. I've posted in my Facebook page on all over social media, and I've gone to those offices to solicit for particularly last mile connectivity in my constituency. And let me tell you, the reason why these people are asking for it is because, you see, electricity defines everything. And it will inform the economic development of any constituency. Because if you have, for example, power in Kolelach, power in Seret, that is those areas in my villages, power in the farthest corner, Kaptap Kiting in Sengwer. That means even someone who is unemployed, or area, there's an area called Kamaketua in Sengwer there, where there is no power. If my friend Kalia, if those people have access to electricity, one, it will ease unemployment. A lady will be able to open a salon. A gentleman will open a barber shop. Another one will buy a DSTV. He will be having a DSTV so that those guys from the village can be able to watch football. They pay 20 shillings, they pay 30 shillings, they pay 100 shillings. How much? 20, not 100 actually, 20, 30 shillings. That is comfortable within the village. So that will inform economic empowerment in any constituency. That is why I am really focused so that I can be able to increase electricity connectivity from the current 38%. And that is a promise I have given the people of Marakwet West. It is unfortunate that now that we were left out, there's a program of AFD. Should be a French FDA, French Development Agency, and the European Union. That program has unfortunately left out my county, but we have appealed. We were at the ministry the other day. We appealed to that so that that agreement can be reviewed to consider our constituency. But we are happy because we are aware that the government has signed an agreement with World Bank and the African Development Bank so that we can be able to have last mile connectivity commencing April next year. So I want to promise my people that by the end of the second year, you will see a lot of power connectivity within Marakwet West, because power connectivity, electricity informs economic development in any constituency. That is something that I will be able to ask. The other one was the issue of, I know there is a problem with locations and sub-locations in our constituency. The areas that have one location, they want to be subdivided to be sub-locations. There are sub-locations that already have been gazetted, but there is no advert on the appointment of assistant chiefs. So I want to assure my people that I will come back, we do a public participation, and we do a public participation so that we can be able to have those offices created. The office so that we can have them filled. Number two, there is the issue of Capture Up. Capture Up wants a sub-county, or in the alternative, a recruitment center. Soon, we shall be, I have written a letter to the CS for Interior to initiate the process. So soon, we shall be conducting public participation so that we can be able to create Capture Up sub-county, because they have been marginalized. People from Rogor, from Kapterit, have to go all the way to Kapsawar so that they can be able to access government offices, which is unfortunate. In terms of recruitment, you take someone from Rogor to Kapsawar for purpose of recruitment to KDF, to police, to anything. So it becomes a challenge because of distance. But the other challenge I want to address, even because it has come up, is the issue of recruitment of officers to military. Mm-hmm. Be it Kenya Defense Forces, be it police, be it prisons, be it KWS. And that is something that I promised to deal with my brother. See, there has been a massive flow in our recruitment process insofar as my constituency is concerned. There is a lot of corruption involved. And I want to inform those officers who come to recruit and take bribe that your time is up, and it is unfortunate. Because you see, we are taking unqualified people to serve in our military. And it is a disaster of monumental proportions in the near future. Can you imagine, Msikalia? A daughter of a hustler, a daughter of Mama Mboga, a son of an ordinary farmer has gone to Kapsawar. There's a recruitment of police. He has actually passed the entire test. He is at the final stage. Kufika mwisho anaambiwa wewe sasa umetuma na mzazi. You know? And this is a son of a hustler who has worked so hard, who is determined to serve our forces, but because, in quotes, hajatuma na mzazi, may not be recruited to serve in armed forces or in other units of government. So this time around, we've talked with other MPs, akina Ngeno, Ngong, kina Kibore, tumesema around hii sisi tutakuwa kwa uwanja. We'll be in the field to ensure that the process is free, is fair, is transparent, is credible, so that we can have men and women of honor serve in our military. We can have genuine people. We can have the daughter, the son of a Mama Mboga to be able to serve in the military without without popping out 1 million shillings, 500,000 shillings. It's unfortunate.
And Mwesh, you've talked about representation, and even you've talked about boundaries and getting somebody traveling so far to get government services. You are a lawyer, you are an officer of the court, and in EMC we only have one court. I think in the entire I think it's one. If I have my facts right, it should be one court in Iten. So that means that everyone travels to that place. How do you think that will be fixed? And of course, as much as you are elected as an independent candidate, you're now aligned to the Kenya Kwanza government. And as we come slowly to the first 100 days of Kenya Kwanza, maybe before you get right into it, the issue of courts, because now I'm actually pinning this to you because you are a lawyer, you are an advocate of the High Court. What do you think about that? Because also we believe that if we had more courts, of course, it also brings in more people and it will develop those centers. What do you think, and how long do you think that can be sorted out?
One, as an officer of the court, I want to thank the president, because the president, first of all, said that the rule of law would inform the basis of his administration. In fact, he said clearly that everything done in Kenya must be founded on the rule of law. Number two, I want to thank him for operationalizing the judiciary fund. Because the other regime, especially on the last part of that regime, they frustrated the judiciary. Because if judiciary does not have adequate funding, then it may not be able to execute its mandate as provided for in law. And I want to thank the president because he actually has committed to work closely with the judiciary. I come from a constituency from a county that has 4 constituencies: Marakwet East, Marakwet West, Kenya North, and Kenya South. And it is unfortunate, my brother, that out of the 4 constituencies, we have only one court in Iten that serves the 4 constituencies. And you see, sometimes, the people fear courts. They don't want the courts to be near them. And the other time when I said, you want to have a court in Kapsawar, in a court in maybe Tot or Chesongoch, they say, no, You see, there are so many services offered by our courts that our people do not know. One, when it comes to land disputes, there are a lot of land disputes in my constituency, involving clans, involving individuals. You see, when someone travels from both normally start at 9:00. And you are not there.
You should be there.
This is today is 20 what? 23rd.
23rd December.
December. Now, if you don't appear today in court, because the diary of the court is full, especially here in E&L, you will be given 23rd, 2023. Can you imagine? You are allocated a date 1 year.
And maybe it is a motorbike that
coming
from the valley.
Yes, distance, is an issue. So that if you have a court, which is maybe in Chosongoch, then you can come in the morning, listen to your matter. The matter is dispensed off very fast, and it is done. The other second issue with our courts is succession matters. We have a lot of unresolved succession issues in our constituency. People, you see, for example, Kalia, if your grandfather has a title deed to the entire parcel of land ya nyumbani, then you want, for example, your own title deed so that you can be able to maybe to take a loan, to take credit, to develop your land. You need the government to approve your development. You know what that means? You will not be able to develop your land until succession is initiated and completed. And succession takes around 6 months. So that,
of course, when there are no barriers.
Well, of course.
But if a barrier appears somewhere, then it will take.
We say it takes at least 6 months. But it can take forever. It takes years. It takes 3 years, 4 years. So if we have courts near or at the center of the constituency, then of course it means we have more courts. It means we have the services are fast and such things. There are commissioners, there are documents that need to be stamped. You've seen, we are told, go to a magistrate or a lawyer. You know a commissioner for oaths. You know a magistrate to certify your documents. So you certify your document and you leave. You have disputes, commercial disputes. Mtu amekwamba pesa amepotea. Why should you come to retain from tort to sue someone or to have your case heard when it involves a very small amount of money?
So your fare inakula.
So, when people hear courts, they usually think it's a criminal justice system. Oh, these are civil law practice. There are matters that the courts can handle very well. It also creates employment. For example, if you have a court in tort, watchman, areas zingine za kotini, clerks, they may prefer people from the same area because they need also an interpreter from Marakwet community to interpret. A court ikikuwa set up in a certain place. One, ofisi ya police lazima ikuwe hapo. A small prison inaweza jengwa area.
Unaanza uchokozi tena.
You see, but it creates employment so that can be able to employ our people. Government services comes closer to the people. And that is what we are advocating for, so that justice can be taken down to the people at the local level. So that is something that personally I will fight for, so that we have courts taken to the lower level, so that our people can be able to benefit from in so many aspects that I've explained earlier. Yes.
Okay, and of course, I know you might have touched part of this. Of course, we also now want to discuss Kenya Kwanza's 100 days in power. I've seen a few things we didn't agree to, and some of them, I would say, hits and misses within the first 100 days of the Kenya Kwanza government. The president started by appointing the judges who had actually not been, maybe they had been proposed, but then had not been officially assented to by the president. I think it started with that. There was the issue of fertilizer subsidy. There was, I think that within the first 30 days, the president did a lot. We've also seen quite a lot in the last like 100 days. I wouldn't want to give you a direction into this. Of course, you've actually already mentioned about the judges. What are some of those decisions that have been made by Kenya Kwanza government, of course, now that you're part of it, that you feel are the hits?
One, first of all, Msikalia, for the avoidance of doubt. You know, I was elected on an independent ticket, so I must come clean. One,
but of course,
is that
right from your maiden speech,
is that
clear
yes,
that, yeah.
When I was elected on an independent ticket, the president called me. We went to Karen. At that time, he had not gone assented to power officially. So we shook hands, and as you speak, I am a member of Kenya Kwanza by choice. So when I speak, I wanted to clear the air so that when I speak, I can speak with authority. Number two, even other than the development aspect that the Kenya Kwanza has been able to achieve, the Kenya Kwanza, through its leadership, has been an inspiration to every individual in this nation. The ascension of William Ruto to the presidency has actually inspired a generation. It has inspired so many people that it is possible to rise from a chicken seller to be the president of this country. That it is possible to come from a poor background and be able to ascend to the highest seat of power in this country. The election of deputy president, even Rigathi Gachagua, is an inspiration. This is someone who was tortured, who was tormented by the regime. But eventually he has ascended to the helm of the deputy presidency in this country, which is no mean achievement. So for me, the achievement, first of all, of electing the duo, the president, not the dynamic of Mwiguna, the duo, that is President William Samoei Ruto and the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, despite all the odds, is something to be celebrated, and it's an achievement. It is something that will go down the records of this, the historical records of this country. So for me, it's an inspiration. Number two, the president has been very open. And of course, ensuring that the democracy of this nation flourishes. You know, the other day he surprised us. And for me, it's an achievement. When he said, can we create the office of the leader of opposition? Imagine that. Coming from the president, who, you know, it is like, you know, of course, automatically Raila Odinga will be the leader of opposition. You see, he has said, let us create an office of the leader of official office of the leader of opposition for this country. Tumpe gari mzuri, apewe security,
Ofisi mzuri,
ofisi mzuri, apewe staff, and also to come to parliament, to be able to address the country in parliament. For me, best thing that can happen in respect to the democracy and in respect to respecting institutions in this country. Because I've argued this way. For any democracy to flourish, we must have checks and balances. We must have proper oversight. Because currently, as we speak, the opposition is very demoralized. Because they don't meet the threshold. The reason why Raila Odinga resorted to going to Kamkunji the other time, to going to streets, because he has no forum for checking the excesses of the executive. So when it comes to the floor of the House, he may be able to address issues that affect him or afflict him or issues of concern at the floor of of the House. So personally, I support 100% the passage of a law to create amending of the Constitution to create the office of the leader of opposition. Because Raila Odinga, an idle Raila Odinga is very dangerous.
But then he argued and said that is
that is what has made it. Inside those young men, he wants to go to Kamukunji, to big crowds. You see now, he feels like what that office will time and tell him, you have an office. If you not behave, the funding will be cut down. All that. So
he doesn't want to get used
for me,
to the comfort.
In order to strengthen our democracy, I fully support the creation of that office of the leader of opposition. Yes.
Okay. And
now, of course, the other achievement is the issue of Hustler Fund. And I want to talk about it briefly. Because as you speak, under the Hustler Fund, and I think in my own opinion, the president was looking at a culture of saving in this country. You see, if you look at offices like NSSF that are supposed to create some savings for the government in order to invest, it has not. Currently, are you aware that we've saved almost 1 billion shillings out of savings? We've saved almost 1 billion shillings, and this money, of course, will go into our development projects in this country, because we need some local funding so that we can be able to fund our projects in this country. So currently, we have the Hustler Fund has been rolled out, and I want to appeal to our people. Kindly let us borrow the loan and we repay the loan. Because at the end of it all, this is money that has been obtained from our exchequer. It is money, 50 billion is not a small amount of money. It is money that we've obtained from the exchequer, and it is money that is meant to benefit us. So I had others saying that tuombe pesa na tusilipe. It's unfortunate. To those who believe in the presidency of William Ruto, kindly let us borrow this money, let us repay the loan, because after some time you will get almost 50,000. For me, by the way, I have even borrowed that loan for the Hustler Fund.
Yeah, limit yako ni ngapi mweshi?
No, inakaribia president. Your president ilikuwa ngapi? Ilikuwa
200. Okay, and of course, when you talk about the Hustler Fund,
yes,
many issues arise. There is the issue of the constitution of the loan. In terms of, we've had other funds like those ones. We have friends. Also, we've had people argue about the legality of the Hustler Fund, in terms of even that money that you're saying we are saving. How sure am I'll get it at some point? Where is it being kept? The interest, who is taking care of it, and all that. Because so much of it is not so clear. As somebody who strongly endorses it, as somebody who strongly supports it. And I'll go back to the aspect of you being an advocate and a lawyer. Because when you talk about the legality of the whole thing, somebody's already rushing to court to say that this thing won't work out and all that. Give us an assurance.
Did you say someone will mismanage it? I don't think. You can do it anywhere, but not under the government, under the watch of William Samoei Ruto. That I'm very sure. You can't mismanage funds.
But when you talk about pension, of course, we are talking beyond even the leadership of Kenya Kwanza.
I know, yeah.
That means that the rules must be actually very binding. It must sustainability
of
beyond
course, yeah,
the 10 years.
Yeah. Now, of course, one, you must know that there is a law that governs the Hustler Fund. We have the PFM regulations. There are specific regulations that are created to manage the Hustler Fund. And I've actually read that law in its entirety, and the law is substantive in nature. It has provided for mechanism of protecting that particular this particular fund. So that law is not, this fund is anchored in law. That's a fact. And of course, that law provides for mechanisms of protecting that particular fund. And by the way, I want to inform Kenyans that there is a penalty for not paying that loan. The law has provided in very specific provisions that in case you mismanage, it has used the word mismanage. Mismanage means, of course, not even repaying the loan. And in case you don't repay the loan will accrue interest. And the law says it will be recovered as a civil debt. Understand? So at some point, if you borrow 500 and the money is not repaid, it will accrue some interest. And even if you don't pay within the 10 years of this government, it will be taken as government loan. It will be taken as a loan. And you, at some point in time, you will have to repay that loan, especially when the measures I put in place. So it is money that belongs to the government, and it is money that must be refunded. And the reason why the government started with 500 shillings is to sieve out jokers. So that if you are not able to refund 500 shillings, then you will not be given a higher amount than that, because that means you are unable to pay the commitment of 500. You will not be added more money. If you had given people 50,000 as a startup, people would take off. They would not repay. So, of course, you know where you go. The areas in this country that you go, you may think you're not in Kenya. The one I mentioned earlier. So, it is for me, of course, there are issues with whether someone was saying, I heard Kalonzo saying that there was no appropriation. I think that was an oversight on my part as a lawyer. That money should have been properly appropriated. But I think, under supplementary budget, that is an area that we'd wish to rectify. We even raised that issue with the government, saying that, it should have been appropriated properly. But I think someone, of course, will answer at some point. But as you speak, the fund has taken off very well. And within the next 3 years, I think the fund will have fully... there will be the revolving fund will be fully working. Yesterday I was in Kapsawar issuing checks for Wezo Fund. That fund must be relooked out. It is too mechanical. It is too old. There is no interest rate. Zero. In fact, it's even better than the Asla fund. Unfortunate. Because the government has allocated, I think, 2 billion or 20 billion shillings to Wezo Fund. Currently, you have to apply in a very old model. You take a form, you fill, they have a vetting committee, it is approved in Nairobi, and then they give you 100,000. I think we should have, I will personally bring a motion in Parliament, we remodel the Wezo Fund, so that you can be able to execute it in tandem. In terms of ICT.
And also, Muhesh, when you talk about the issues of funds, I think in the last regime, there was a task force that was formed to actually look into why these funds do not actually create a lot of impact in the society. I think Wezo Fund, as you say, you call it mechanical. And true to your words, it has not had any much impact in the lives of the people of Kenya. You look at it in that manner, you'll notice that the task force came up with a recommendation that we merge all the funds and have it under one management. There is also the issue of the running of these, the management of the funds in terms of the running costs. It has employees and all that, and at some point also it becomes a burden to it. What do you think about that? Would you maybe support such a move?
Absolutely. I agree, because the reason why Asla Fund will be a model fund in the entire of the African continent and beyond. Even if you look at even Safaricom, the way it has been a model in this region and outside this region is because the way it has been managed. Everything, my brother, boils down to management. You see, the way the Asla Fund was constituted, I mean, not Wezo Fund was constituted, is because it had a lot of procedural technicalities, procedural avenues in order to access the money. So the thing is, a proper review, we need a report. We need to analyze the report that was done by those bodies, and we'll be able to relook at the best way we can be able to remit these ways of funds. Availability of these funds. I was even shocked that 24 million so far has been borrowed. But what has been returned is 9 million. So we have almost 12 million that cannot be accounted for because the mechanism of enforcement is also weak. So we need to relook at ways of fund because we are wasting a lot of money in this country in terms of creating funds. But we have a weak framework, a weak management framework that cannot be able to enforce the fund. Because if, for example, if you look at the way KRA does that, execute the enforcement mechanism of KRA is very swift. If you don't pay taxes here, they come to your office. Tell you, you've not paid taxes. If you've not done anything, they come where you are. And you are forced. If you don't do it, they take you to the courts. So we must look at an enforcement mechanism in ways of fund so that we can be able to actualize the importance of that fund. Yeah.
Okay, of course, this has been the Morning Glory. We're coming to almost the tail part of this particular interview. With me in studio is Mheshimiwa Timothy Kipchumba Toroitich. Of course, that is the member of National Assembly for Marakwet West. Of course, you share a name also with one of the aspirants for Senate. And and when I share the poster, people who don't know Elgeyo Marakwet so well almost told me, no, they almost look same. I think they both have specs, but the other one has more beard. Okay, so we've actually been talking about the issues of EMC, of course, his journey, his political journey right now. Also looking at the 100 days of Kenya Kwanza government. We've talked about some of the hits. And of course, I'm now going on to the misses. And I know one of them that when Kipchumba had issues with was the issue of GMO and food security as a general. I think for fertilizer subsidy, many people agree that that was a hit. For the issue of GMO, then it remains a discussion. What is your view about this? And of course, there's already, the state has gone back to the courts asking them that they give them a chance to actually import GMO. Yeah.
Now, for me, the GMO debate was rather unfortunate because if you follow that debate, and that is why I said earlier that there are three arms of government, my brother. We have the executive, we have the judiciary, and we have the legislature. And these are arms of government. These are governments of its own. And the reason why we have the National Assembly, we have Parliament, we have Senate, is for it to oversight the executive. And we agreed with the members of Parliament, even from this region, that the oversight role of an MP takes precedence over any other duty. Because a government must be checked against excesses. And I can tell you for a fact, my brother, were it not for the voice we raised as members of Parliament from this region, that importation would not have been stopped. That importation, we raised our voice as members of Parliament. And we did it not that we were against the government, not that we were against our president, but we believe that as members of Parliament, our cardinal role is to oversight the executive. When they do good, we praise them. When they deviate, we tell them. And we will do so without any fear of contradiction. Because our interest is, one, the best interest of our people must be met. And when the GMO debate came, we informed the government that, yes, we are in Kenya Kwanza. But we are not happy with the utterances of the minister. You remember the minister at that time said that, he will die. There are so many things that can kill you. Even this one will just kill you, That is what he was saying. He may not have been serious about it, but maybe it was a joke. But, you cannot joke with the lives of Kenyans. So we condemned such utterances. And, of course, the president had us. And I'm aware he raised that issue in cabinet. And actually the issue is raised. Actually, I have no authority to discuss matters of GMO because I'm not a scientist. But GMO has had some controversies in this country and in this world. There are controversies on GMO. And we told the government, yes, you see, we have no problem with the importation of maize. But look, currently we are harvesting in our region. Why are you importing maize when we're harvesting? And I think that thing was halted because it was a hot debate. So it was halted at some point. So my brother, we or me, I, as a member of parliament, representing the people of Marakwet West, when the government is wrong, I will tell them blankly that you are wrong on this. When the government is right, I will praise them. For the issue of GMO, for the issue of maize importation, the government acted outside the interest of the people, and we told them as such. Yes, and of course we opposed. The matter was injected in court. Some lawyers took it to court, and the matter of importation and the GMOs was injuncted by a court of law because there was no consultation. If there was consultation, could have been different, but there was no consultation.
There was no consultation.
Yeah.
Of course, we're coming to the end of this particular broadcast. I'll be going back to Muhesh to give us his closing remarks. And in your closing remarks, of course, I'll give you a red card. Out of 10, Raila gives Kenya Kwanza in the first 100 days 4 out of 10. Timothy Kipchumba anawapea ngapi?
I will give it an 8.
8.
Out of 10. Some work needs to be done a little bit, but the government so far is doing well. The government is meeting expectations. There cannot be an overnight transition in terms of what was happening, but I'm sure William Ruto is working so hard to make sure that it delivers on its promises. That one I'm very sure, and the country, in my own opinion, is heading in the right direction. Investors who had been kicked out of this country are coming back to invest. We have a lot of investor confidence. You've seen we are launching a lot of projects in this country. There are dams that have been halted, like the Kimwarer, the Aror Dam that had been halted. We're very sure that the same will be revived. There are business people who had been frustrated in this country. Keroche industry was closed for no apparent reason. There have been people frustrated by KRA. I'm sure that that has been adequately addressed by this government. The police was misused by the past regime. We want to thank the president because currently they are autonomous because they were given their funds for operation. Police harassment is decreasing in this country, and generally there is a respect for the rule of law. See, the other time we were going down as a country because you would be arrested anyhowly for no reason, without an explanation. But currently, as we speak, I think there is a measure of respect for the rule of law in this country. And that is something that I think there is a lot of confidence in this government under the leadership of the able President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Of course, unless there's anything else that maybe I'll give you a minute for your closing remarks. Then,
One, I thank the people of Marakwet West for electing me under extremely exceptional circumstances. Were it not for the people of Marakwet West, I would not be here today. So I want to thank them for the confidence they have in me. I want to assure you, the people of Marakwet West, that I will not fail you. We also want to thank the President for appointing Kipchumba Murkomen, a very able man, to be the CS in charge of roads, transport, and infrastructure. I want to inform the people of this region that Kipchumba Murkomen is not a minister of Marakwet County. He's a minister of the entire country. So I believe, and I know him as a person, that he will serve this country with utmost dedication. He's a man of honor, a man of integrity, and I know that he will serve this country with honor and distinction. We want to prevail upon our people that whatever we promised, whatever I promised, I will be able to discharge. I have the issue of last mile, the issue of education. Currently, I serve as a member of the Committee on Education at the National Assembly. So the teachers of this region on Marakwet West, I will ensure that the best interest of the teacher is secured. I want to give you an equivocal promise on that. On the issue of last mile, I've said I want to ensure that we achieve an 80% last mile connectivity within the next 5 years as your leader. We've talked the CS. We have proposed the tarmacking of Biretuo, Sambalat Road, so that it connects to the road going uphill towards Embobut. So that one we want to assure that that road will be tarmacked. The Kalit Road from Koitelial all the way to Kate, we also work on tarmac. The road from Anin all the way to Matira, to Kapsawar, to Sia, to Tunyo, we want to ensure that we are working with the government to ensure that it's tarmacked. From Chebara all the way to Chamanada, Chebolbai, Hondabilet, Chebororwo, also ensure that that road is tarmacked during the regime of this government. Even if it's the next 10 years, we want to ensure that that road will be tarmacked. Otherwise, I thank you so much, the people of Marakwet West, for the confidence, resounding confidence that you have in my leadership. I want to promise you that I will not fail you. I will ensure that I deliver my promises and work closely with the President to ensure that the best interest of our people is well taken care of. Thank you so much, Dr. Afrik. Thank you so much, the organizer of the Morning Glory Show, for inviting me here. I'll be sure on any invite, I'll come back. We discuss matters to do with politics and development of our nation. And I'm praying that this station grows to be better, that one day you'll be a TV station. Actually, by the way, do you know, we have a challenge, even as elected leaders from this region. When we have important meetings, like yesterday, Fund there, we don't have a coverage because we do not have a local TV station
operating within
region, especially in my area there. Kas FM, of course, is covering this region, but it may not be able to meet the demands of our people. So we are hoping that you will grow. If I will be of help, I will be of help at some point to assist you to grow so that you can be able to cover this region in its entirety. There are issues happening in Kaben. There are matters happening in West Pokot. There are matters happening in Turkana. There are people suffering in this country. But there are people in Tiati. But because there is no media coverage, those people are suffering because no one has exposed their plight in those areas. So I'm praying that you will grow so that we can have a TV station in this area. Of course, to cover, and of course to work also to work like the way KSFM is doing, so they can be with some people. I was in Kiaru the other day, where we attended a benchmarking mission with the MP for Kiaru. And you see, the reason why Kiaru has been developed for you that will intervene so that we become a TV station in the future. Because I've seen you have everything that can make you qualify. Asante sana na Mungu abariki.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm Wesh for also making time to be on the Morning Glory Show. Of course, it's not easy to wake up in the morning to be on the Morning Glory Show. That was a honor. And I hope also that my viewers have enjoyed the show. Of course, from the comments and the feedback, it is clear that everyone enjoyed the show. I usually mark the register before we leave, but then we're already 15 minutes past the hour. Of course, we usually finish at 9 a.m. So for today, allow me to just wish you a Merry Christmas. This is our last show for the year. I think we'll meet on the first Monday of 2023 around, I think it should be second, if not around second there. Yeah. So I'll give Mwesh a chance to wish people a Merry Christmas, and of course, do it in a way that I can be able to get you the cutaway for also your other social media users.
Now, to the people of Marakwet West, to the people of this region, I sincerely wish you a Merry Christmas and a fruitful year 2021. Asante sana.
Thank you so much for that. I think Mheshimiwa has finished 3 times. So from the Morning Glory Show, from Dawi Afrique Photography, from Very Nice Media, and on behalf of all the people who work with us to make sure that you get our services, I would want to take this opportunity to wish you a Merry Christmas. Of course, the biggest thing that comes to my mind when you talk about Merry Christmas is road safety. Let's be safe as we travel. Let's mind our speeds, because we need you next year. We need you beyond the Christmas festivities. Drink responsibly, be a good person, and beyond all, then don't blame the distraction. Improve your focus. My name is MC Kalia. See you next year. Thank you.